Leanne, thanks very much for taking the time to chat as we come to the end of pre-season and the season starts. Before we talk about what's ahead, now you've had a summer to reflect. How do you reflect on last season?
Personally, I think we had a disappointing season. We always set really high standards at this club, and the expectation's always there to win silverware. So to come away empty-handed, it's obviously disappointing, and that's not just from my perspective, but from everybody involved in the club. So that's something that we've looked back on the whole season, and tried to put things in place to make sure that we come back a better team, ready to face the challenges of the season ahead.
I've seen a lot of new signings coming in, but obviously the recruitment process doesn't just start in the summer. Can you talk to me about kind of what your approach was going into this season?
Yeah, so there's obviously a lot of people involved in that recruitment process, and as you say, it does go on a long time. But we've worked hard to make sure that we knew the players that were going to be leaving the club in the summertime and who we were going to have to replace and which positions we were going to have to fill. So that work's been going on in the background, and then once I become involved in that process, it's more about finding out about the individual people that are coming in, what kind of qualities they can bring to the team, as well as on the pitch, but off the pitch as well.
There'll be some unfamiliar faces and there's been some familiar faces. Talk to me about a couple of familiar faces. Lisa's obviously the one that I think everybody's been asking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was the decision like to bring Lisa back to the club?
I think when you have someone that knows the club really well and knows a lot of the players that are still here, then that becomes easier for them to come in and settle in really quickly. But to bring someone back like Lisa that's been away and had the experiences that she's had, developed her game and grown as a person, I think we're bringing back someone that we know, but a much improved version on what we had before. And she was good when she was here before, so there's high expectations in terms of what we can get from Lisa this season.
And we've also talked about the playing squad, but there's been a couple of changes in the coaching staff. Another thing that a lot of people were talking about was obviously Scott's arrival. Tell me about how that came about and how Scott's settled in.
Yeah, again, probably out with the club. There's people that think that's a strange decision to bring Scott back, having been here before previously as the head coach, and obviously he was my head coach when I was here as the captain. So again, for me, when Scott said that he was interested in the post, then we started discussions personally between the two of us, and just in terms of how that dynamic would work, with it being reversed. And I was really comfortable in terms of it being someone that I know really well, someone that I know his knowledge and experience in the game as well is second to none. So yeah, it was pleasing to see that someone of Scott's calibre was interested in the post, and I think he's someone that I respect a lot, but it's a mutual respect, and we're going to work really well together.
Obviously first team head coach, but you have oversight over lots of things at the club, and one of the other coaching changes has been Kieran stepping into a head of player development role.
Kieran's new role is going to be huge for us going forward, because I think if you look at the younger girls that we've got in the academy at this minute in time, their aspirations are to come and play in the first team. So now having Kieran as a head of player development, I think that's something that we can get a handle on a lot earlier and get the players on the right path as soon as possible. So they'll all have individual development work. He's working really hard in terms of the game model and making sure that that's rolled out across the academy, so that everybody's well aware of how Glasgow City want to play, and it's an easier transition obviously when they're coming through the teams towards that first team level.
Away from the training ground in the squad, there's been a delay with Petershill Park. How's that affected you? Is it something that the players are taking in their stride kind of going forward?
Yeah, the players are well aware that obviously we're not training where we normally train or playing where we play, but we just get on with the business. So they've been really focused, they've worked really hard throughout pre-season, and everybody in the background's done the hard work in terms of making sure that we had the facilities that we need. So there's been no distractions on that front for the playing staff, and I think we've had a good pre-season and we're ready for the season to start on Sunday.
Are you just looking forward to getting back on the touchlines for a competitive game?
Yeah, that's what everybody always looks forward to. Like, the players have worked really hard during pre-season, but they do that for a reason, and that's to be ready to kick off the season. So as I said, we've done a lot of focused work. We've brought in a lot of new players, but they've gelled really well, and we're pulling together a really competitive team. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we can achieve together on the pitch.